After I came back from RKO, I was producing here, and I got the idea I wanted to do something about Texas, because my wife was from Texas, and I would go down there and see her family. I thought that would be a good reason to go down and write it off too, as well. So I got the idea that maybe we could do a show on the Rangers. And I knew nothing about the Texas Rangers except their reputation. And I went down to Austin and met Homer Garrison, who was then the chief of the Rangers, Colonel Homer Garrison. And he was rather intrigued by the idea of doing radio shows on the Texas Rangers. He didn't know me from Adam, and I didn't know him either. He said, well, you talk to my PR man, whose name is Roy Wade. See what he thinks. I met him, and he said, well, let's go to lunch. He said, by the way, I'm representing another fellow who's running for Congress. Do you mind if the three of us join each other and have lunch? I said, no. And we went to lunch. He said, this is Lyndon Johnson, Stacy Keach, Lyndon Johnson. That was the man he was representing going to Congress at that time, who told me, by the way, Lyndon Johnson said he was going to be president someday, and I thought he was a little wacky. But we started to do some research on the Rangers. Colonel Garrison said, we have a retired captain who's just recently retired. He's a famous captain of the Texas Rangers, Gonzalez, Gonzallas. And they call him Lone Wolf. And he said he would like to be your technical consultant. And we think you should have somebody who knows a lot about the Rangers' work. So I met him and we just hit it off. And he was with me for 7 or 8 years after that. We traveled all over Texas. Our writers would go down and we'd cover cases and talk to the sheriffs. And every time we went down, the Ranger car would take us, and there would be 2 or 3 other Ranger cars escorting us. We felt like we were having great security. And then we'd join up with some of the sheriffs and the constables in different places in Texas, and they'd tell us their stories. We had a writer named Joel Murcott, and Joel was a very prolific writer and a very good one. Did maybe our first 30 or 40 shows. Cap could never remember Joel Murcott's name. Cap had evidently had 31 gunfights in his day. But he was always remembering, he could remember every incident of the gunfight or the arrest, but he could never remember Joel Murcott's name. So finally one day we're driving along, and Murcott faced another constable, and he said, this is Constable so-and-so, and we had this gunfight over here and so forth. And this is Joel Murcott. Let me ask you something, Cap. He said, what do you have to do, kill a guy to remember his name?
As the 1950s began, things were changing in the U.S. Frank McNamara and Ralph Schneider introduced a credit card with their Diners Club card. For the first time, it made purchasing gas with plastic possible. Although TV was pulling audiences in record numbers, the network still had radio budgets and programming needs. With numerous stars jumping to CBS, NBC launched several small studio dramas. These programs were good deals for advertisers. Their cost per ratings point was much lower than orchestral and large variety shows. This is covered in detail in episodes 111 and 112 of Breaking Walls. One of these new NBC shows was a modern western called Tales of the Texas Rangers. It brought the Texas detective into the 20th century, covering closed cases from 1928 to 1948. Tales of the Texas Rangers was created by Stacy Keach Sr.
In the Ranger headquarters, there is a lie detector room. Very interesting. They have one-way mirrors. So the room is possibly 8 by 10, maybe 10 by 12, and the people would be brought in, and the lie detector equipment would be put on them for perspiration, heartbeat, and then they would sit them in a big chair, and we would watch these people being interviewed through this one-way mirror. It looked like a mirror to them. But we had a little amphitheater back there, and our writers would go up there. Just amazing how you'd see human psychology work. One of the polygraph operators would act as a heavy, the villain. The other one would be the good guy. This fellow said, oh, if you're guilty, we're going to get you by. He said, wait a minute, Joe, he's a nice guy. Let's see. And they played these roles. It was amazing how well they convinced the suspects. But they would put them down in a chair, in the lie detector chair, and they'd say, now listen, if you're guilty, this lie detector is going to find out. If you're not guilty, by all means, take the test, because it will also show that you're innocent. Now, let's make a few little tests just in the meantime, just to see how the polygraph works with you. So they say, is your name Tom Smith? Yes. Did you ever drink a Coca-Cola? Yes. Did you kill Molly Jones? No. And they go back and forth and say, boy, you're really good. You really react very well to this. So anyhow, we'd like to try one more little test on you. This time we want you to lie. What do you mean lie? We want you to lie. Don't tell us the truth. Now here's a deck of cards, and we want you to take one of these cards. Don't let us see it. Draw the card. Keep it in your own mind. Put it under your leg so we can't see it. And then we'll ask you what the card is. But you lie. Don't tell us what the card is. So you're all set. So, all right. Was it a club? No. Was it a spade? No. Was it a diamond? No. Was it a heart? No. Going back and forth. Finally, they say, was it an ace? No. Was it a king, queen, jack, 10? Finally, he keeps saying no. And finally, is it the 2? No. 3? No. 4? No. 2? No. 3? No. 4? No. 2? No. 3? No. 2? No. 3? No. It was a 2 of spades, wasn't it? Fella pulls it out. We saw more people confess right there that they did it. They were scared to death that this thing was really... Of course, they didn't know that all of those cards in the deck were 2 of spades. And what they did watch was the polygraph watching what he said when it was a 2 of spades, and they watched just how it kicked up.
The show starred Hollywood A-lister Joel McCrea as Jace Pearson. McCrea was an outdoorsman who owned a 3,000-acre spread in Southern California. He spent the second half of his career appearing almost exclusively in Western films.
I believe that somebody up there likes all of us, and if that's our right place and we make the right moves and do the right things, we'll make it. And if it isn't right for us, we'll do something else.
Yes.
You know?
You certainly kept persevering, though. You didn't quit, did you?
No, I never thought of quitting. If I had, I would, later, when I was successful and there wasn't much chance of me having to quit, I said, well, if it ends tomorrow, I can go out on a ranch and still do a day's work and make a living, and I'll eat and sleep and be warm.
Tales of the Texas Rangers debuted over NBC on July 8, 1950. Herb Ellis and Herb Vigran often appeared in character parts.
Last week, did you guys play Tales of the Texas Rangers? Was I the partner to Jay's? What was my name? No. What was my name in the show? Well, I played his partner.
Was that him? Because I listened to it.
Well, who was his partner? Parley Bear was the sheriff?
Parley was on it.
Oh, well, then maybe that particular show...
Jerry Hausner was on it, too, I think.
Maybe that particular part. But I remember doing many, many episodes as his partner and being featured. And by the way, that was... Yes. That's who I was, Clay Morgan. Thank you. And that show was produced by Stacy Keach, the father of Stacy Keach, the actor, and his brother.
While Jace Pearson used the same methods that had been successful for the Texas Rangers in the 19th century, he also relied on modern technology for crime detection.
And it was rather interesting because we had to get permission for every show from Texas, okay or not okay, or change this or that wasn't right, or so forth. And we'd always get either a wire or a phone call, and they never turned us down on that one either.
Tales of the Texas Rangers, starring Joel McCrea as Ranger Jace Pearson. Another authentic reenactment of a case transcribed from the files of the Texas Rangers. Names, dates, and places in the following story are fictitious for obvious reasons. The events themselves are a matter of record.
Beginning today and continuing all week, there are many new programs returning to the NBC schedule. And you'll find a couple of your old favorites in new time periods as well. Today, Theater Guild on the Air returns for the fall season on NBC with a special dramatization of The Wisteria Trees, co-starring Helen Hayes and Joseph Cotton. Later, Dragnet, the authentic stories of your police force in action, begins a new series of Sunday evening broadcasts. On Tuesday, NBC's own Red Skelton returns to the fold to bring you 30 minutes of his hilarious antics. And the same day, Tuesday, Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis also begin a new series on the NBC radio network. Thursday evening, you'll find Truth or Consequences on a new day at a new time, too. So better check your local newspaper for the correct time of all these wonderful programs on this NBC station. Remember, today, hear both Theater Guild on the Air, co-starring Helen Hayes and Joseph Cotton, and Dragnet for action-packed listening on NBC. Now, today's Tales of the Texas Rangers.
And now, from the files of the Texas Rangers, the case called Drive-In.
It is 9:45 on a Saturday night in July 1947. At a drive-in theater 3 miles outside Corvell, Texas, a boy in his late teens walks between the rows of cars on the darkened lot and approaches an old convertible parked near the exit. In the driver's seat of the convertible, a 15-year-old girl sits watching the movie.
What to say?
Don't
They're
say
getting ready to leave?
You turn that
I
thing
got
off.
you. That's the best part of the picture.
Turn it off.
Just come back.
No time to be watching a movie now. You might have to start driving any minute.
They're really getting ready to leave, huh?
I don't know. You should have left 20 minutes ago.
Oh, maybe they want to see the show again. It's a good picture.
Oh,
Hey, sure is a pretty car they got. They ought to have a lot of money.
what do you think I picked it?
How much money you reckon we'll get from her?
How do I know?
You said if we used to get $100, we could get married.
Yeah.
Maybe if we used to get $200, we could go to Dallas for a honeymoon. Could we, Al?
Sure, baby.
Because I've never been to Dallas. You got your gun ready to use on them?
Will you quit your yapping?
Okay. Only trying to make sure everything go good. You sound like you don't even want me here.
Yeah, sure I do, baby. You know that.
Done nothing but yell at me the whole night.
I've been trying to think. This thing has to go off just right. Now, you know what you got to do.
Sure. Reckon you'll shoot them people?
Maybe. If they get me into trouble.
Wish I could be there when you use the gun. You'll scare them so bad they won't know.
Here they come.
Oh, sure it's them?
I've been watching that car, haven't I?
Hey, this is exciting. I can hardly wait.
Now, don't forget, baby. Pick me up at that spot I showed you. And remember, don't drive too close behind us.
Okay, Al.
Hey, mister! Mister!
What's the trouble?
My car's out of gas. Can you give me a ride to the nearest filling station?
Well, I reckon we can. All right with you, Ruth?
Oh, sure, Jim.
Yeah. Hop in the back, son. We'll take you.
Oh, thanks a lot, mister. Well, sure glad you stopped me. My girl and me, we've been waiting 20 minutes for someone to come out.
No.
Did you like the picture?
What? Oh, yes, ma'am. Real good.
We thought so, too. We almost stayed to see you a second time.
Reckon I can turn on my headlights now. Way they make you keep your parking lights on these drive-ins, I almost miss seeing you standing there.
Sure lucky for me you didn't. My girl's supposed to be home early. Gosh, I feel like kicking myself letting the car run out of gas.
Maybe we can bring you back to the filling station. Might be a long time before you get a ride otherwise.
Oh, you don't have to do that, mister.
Oh, we'll be happy to do it. Oh, honey.
Oh, of course you will.
I remember how it was when my wife's folks were always reading the riot act to me for bringing her home late. We didn't have driving movies then.
Shut up, mister.
What? Why?
When you get to the crossroad, turn left, away from town.
What?
Do like I say. You don't, I'm going to put a bullet right in your head.
Oh, Jim.
Now,
Jim.
look here, son.
Quit that talking. Now turn left.
Oh.
Just so you know I ain't fooling, I'm clicking his hammer back. You hear it, mister?
What is it you want?
You find out.
You won't get away with this, son.
I told you to quit talking.
You're making a big mistake. Why don't you...
Shut up!
Jim, don't argue with him. Do what he says, please.
She's right. You want to live, you do just what I say. Now drive faster. I said faster.
How much further you want me to go?
I'll tell you when to stop.
You have to press that gun so hard in the back of my neck.
I'm keeping it right where it is.
Jim, please don't argue with him.
This is far enough. Stop. Now we're all getting out. Out this side, lady.
You young...
I still got this gun cocked, mister. Now throw your wallet and purse into the car, both of them. Throw them in, I said. Okay. Now start walking down the road. You look back once and I'll plug you.
Jim, I think I'm going to...
Now, just hold on my arm, honey. You'll be all right.
Keep walking. Half an hour later, the couple stopped the passing truck, which took them into the sheriff's office at Corvell. The sheriff, who was in another part of the county, was notified. He ordered an all-points bulletin to be sent out on the stolen car and requested the Texas Rangers to begin the investigation. Upon arrival at the sheriff's office, Ranger Jace Pearson began taking statements from the two victims.
Now, I'd just like to go over a few things to make sure we have them straight. Mr. Harper, you say you had $37 in your wallet?
That's right, Ranger. And Ruth had $5 in her purse.
Oh, 5 and some change, Jim. It was closer to 6.
The boy who robbed you, all you remember about him is that he was heavy-set and not too tall.
Well, I know he was shorter than Ruth, and she's 5'8". Wish we could tell you more, but it was pretty dark the whole time he was with us. Couldn't get a good look at his face.
Ranger, I just remembered something about him I forgot to tell you before. Don't know if it'll help.
Anything will help, Mrs. Harper.
Well, I did notice that he had his sleeves rolled up right to his shoulders like he was trying to show off his muscles.
I see. Now about this girl the fellow said he was with. Did you... Oh, hello, Sheriff.
Well, howdy, Jace. Folks, I'm sorry I wasn't here sooner, but at least I got some good news for you.
Oh, what's that, Sheriff?
They found your car just a few minutes ago.
Oh, that's a relief.
Where'd they find it, Sheriff?
A couple of miles from where the holdup took place. Just got it on the radio as I was driving up. I told them I'd relay the message on to you.
Well, can someone take us out there?
Well, that won't be necessary, Mr. Harper. They're towing it in right now.
Towing it in?
Yes, ma'am, so they won't destroy any evidence.
Well, I'm sure glad we've got it back.
The fellow that held you folks up, was he working alone?
Mr. and Mrs. Harper think there was a girl in it with him.
That's right. But like we told the ranger, we didn't see her.
She probably followed and picked him up after he ditched your car.
That sounds like the tow truck coming in now. Yeah, that's him.
I expect we better get out there.
I sure hope that little rat didn't get my typewriter.
Typewriter?
Yeah. I was bringing it home to do some work over Sunday. Put it in the back seat of the car when Ruth picked me up at the office.
Well, it won't be long before we know if he took it.
That boy seems so nice at first. Oh, there's just no telling about people, is there?
No, ma'am.
Especially that one. Back of my neck still hurts where he was pressing the gun against it. Oh, that kid's vicious. Real vicious.
We'll do everything we can to catch him before he gets rough with anybody else.
The car is right over there. I'll make you out a receipt for it.
Will you have to keep it here?
Only for tonight, till the lab has a chance to go over it.
We'll see that you get a ride home, folks.
Thanks, Sheriff. Let me see.
Oh, wait a minute, Mr. Harper. Don't touch the door handle. It hasn't been gone over for prints yet.
Oh, sorry, Ranger.
It's all right. I'll just shine my light through the window here.
Oh, just what I was afraid of. Typewriter's gone.
Oh, Jim.
I don't suppose you know the serial number.
No, but I reckon I've got it at home with a guarantee.
We'll alert dealers in second-hand stores in case he tries to sell it someplace.
Honey, didn't you have a package in there, too?
Oh, why, yes. I almost forgot about it. A couple pair of stockings I bought this afternoon.
Where'd you buy them, ma'am?
Hugger's dress shop.
You mind telling us the brand and size?
They were Mo Judd, size 10.5 long.
You know if any other place in town carries that brand of stockings?
No, I'm sure they don't, Ranger.
Thanks, ma'am. I reckon we can let you folks go home now. Mr. Harper, will you phone us as soon as you find out that typewriter number?
Sure will, Ranger.
I'll get my deputy to give you a ride. Sandy? Yeah? Would you take Mr. and Ms. Harper home in your car?
Right. Thanks. Come on, honey.
Oh, I sure will be glad to get home.
What do you want to do tomorrow, Jace? Check with the manager of the drive-in theater?
Yeah, I'd also like to talk to the owner of the shop where those stockings were bought.
Well, Jace, I can understand why you wanted that typewriter number, but why did you want to know all about the stockings?
It's just possible that the girl in that hold-up team will come in and try and exchange the stolen stockings for a different size.
She wouldn't have to change them if she wears the same size as Mrs. Harper.
I don't think she does. The boy who robbed the Harpers is short. From what they said about him, I doubt if he's the type who'd go with a girl taller than he is. Certainly not one as tall as Mrs. Harper.
Well, suppose the girl is short. She could still take a large stocking size.
Yeah, but the ones Mrs. Harper bought were 10.5 long. Nobody but a tall person would want to wear them.
You could be right, Jace. I'll phone the woman who owns the dress shop first thing in the morning.
It's only a chance, but I believe it's worth a try.
It was in 1950 that NBC appointed advertising executive Sylvester Pat Weaver as president. He quickly expanded over a dozen NBC radio shows for TV, simulcasting or adapting the two. Television revenue jumped 190% for the year. 2 years later, radio ratings had plummeted. Only 4 shows had ratings higher than 10. Tales of the Texas Rangers wasn't one of them. On September 14, 1952, this episode was broadcast. Entitled Drive-In, it would be the last of the series.
Now, here is an important announcement from the star of our show, Joel McRae.
Folks, tonight marks the concluding performance, for a while at least, of Tales of the Texas Rangers. We've really enjoyed bringing these stories to you and hope that someday we'll be back with you again. To NBC and its affiliated stations, to Colonel Homer Garrison, Jr., Chief of the Texas Rangers, to Captain M.T. Lone Wolf Gonzalez, our technical advisor, and to all the Texas Rangers and members of the Department of Public Safety, our grateful thanks. And we're particularly grateful to those of you who've taken the time to send us your cards and letters. After all, they are the only sure way of telling that you liked our show. Thanks, folks. Thanks a lot. Good night.
You have just heard Joel McRae in another authentic reenactment of a case from the files of the Texas Rangers. Technical advisor was Captain M.T. Lone Wolf Gonzalez of the Texas Rangers. This story was transcribed and adapted by Charles E. Israel, and the program was produced and directed by Stacy Keach. Hal Gibney speaking.
Tonight, attend the premiere of Theater Guild on the Air over NBC.
Another case that was very interesting with Cap Gonzalez. He was searching for somebody who had committed a murder. And he went to this county. This constable with whom he had worked for years, on and off, was working with him. And all the evidence was pointing more and more to this constable, that he might have been the subject of an arrest. And Cap didn't know quite what to do. Well, anyhow, Cap went to a man in the area as a tip-off, told him that the constable had committed this murder. And the next 2 days, Cap goes back there, the man is dead. Found in the river with a weight around his neck. So Cap told the constable that he was under arrest. And the constable said, "What do you mean?" He said, "We've worked together for years." He said, "You're under arrest for murder of this guy." Well, anyhow, to make a long story short, he was tried and convicted and sentenced to death. And those days, Ma Ferguson was the governor of Texas. And there was a lot of publicity about Cap testifying against him and actually sending him to the electric chair. So he went to Ma Ferguson and asked Ma Ferguson if she would please give him a what do you call it? Commute the sentence, right, to life imprisonment. So she refused to do it. And the man's in death row, and I've seen death row many times at Huntsville. What they do, they keep you in a cell at the far end of the electric chair, and then the night that you're going to be electrocuted, they bring you down to a room right down here next to the chair where you can hear the whirring of the motors and all that. Well, this man had called Cap in, and there was a lot of stuff in the paper about how bitter he was with Cap, and he called him in about a week before, and he said, "I apologize for giving you such a bad name, and you were my friend, and I'm sorry that I said this." And he said, "I want you to become a witness at my execution and a pallbearer at my funeral." Cap said, "Oh, I don't want to do that." She said, "Please." Well, the man had divorced with his wife, and they were estranged for a long time. The day of the electrocution, Cap came over, and they brought the man down from the far cell to the near cell, and he asked if he could have this picture of his wife that he had in a leather frame that he had gotten just recently. And Cap was amazed because they were estranged so long. They said, "All right, let him have it." And inside the picture frame was a blade. And before he was taken the electric, he cut his throat. And he was bleeding to death. This is a horrible story. Anyhow, the warden said, electrocute him. And they put him in the chair and electrocuted him. That never came out for years. We did that story.
In 1955, Tales of the Texas Rangers moved into TV for CBS, starring Willard Parker and Harry Lauder.